Okay guys, welcome back to another video. This one's going to be a little bit different, no DPS specs or, whatever it is. This is going to be, well, you saw the video title. It's going to be 5 dungeons that I feel are, interesting enough to be part of a Mythic Plus rotation in future seasons or maybe even next season. And these are just my opinion. These are pretty subjective. I'm sorry. But before that, I have 2 dungeons that are not part of the top 5 that I do want to cover, and that's mainly because of the story. And if you've seen what Blizzard said about Undermine, they added Motherlode because it was themed thematically towards Undermine. And I think everybody knows at this point, if you've even watched just a few cinematics or anything like that through the expansion, yeah, we're gonna fight Ethereals, guys. I don't think there's a secret anymore. And there's 2 dungeons, very specifically, that has a lot of Ethereals in them. And I'm pretty sure one of them you've already played through, and the other one maybe not so much. Maybe it's not even, maybe it may not even be a good Mythic Plus dungeon, but I have to put it in there because, well, it has Ethereals in them, and I feel like that should at least have a mention. But let's get started. Before we do that, please like and subscribe to my videos. I know I've seen a lot of support over the last few months. I actually grew quite a bit, and I really want to thank you guys for that. Thanks for supporting my channel. Thanks for the subscriptions and the new likes and everything. I hope you guys enjoy. Well, let's get right to it. Okay, so one that's not part of the top 5 is Seed of the Triumvirate, however you pronounce it. And this is why. If you see this cutscene back in Legion when you finish the dungeon, this is how Illyria got corrupted by the Void. This is tied in very heavily to the lore that we have currently with the Ethereals and the stuff that happened during Undermine and throughout the entire patch. However, this dungeon sucked, at least in my opinion. Look at this. This is an MDI official tournament. Look at the number of deaths. Yeah, that really happened way back when, and these were actually good players playing this dungeon. This dungeon was bad, and I really hope it does not come back, but from the looks of things, unfortunately it looks like it is. Alright, and for the next one, it is going to be Mana Tombs. Yes, this is a Burning Crusade dungeon that has never seen the light of day for Mythic Plus, and honestly, I don't see why it should. I really only am including it here because of the enemies. I mean, just look at the dungeon. It is full of Ethereals. And if Motherlode is going to get added to Undermine because of Goblins and Seed of the Triumvirate is for some reason going to be the exact same thing that Motherlode was, added into Season 3, then I have to at least give Mana Tombs a mention because I don't see it actually working out as a Mythic Plus dungeon. I could be wrong, but it is full of Ethereals, so you never know what can actually happen here. I wish I could have... if this actually turns into a Mythic Plus dungeon, this is going to be very interesting, but I think this dungeon will have a part to play in Season 3, just maybe not as a Mythic dungeon, but we'll see. Okay, number 5 is Utgarde Keep. Now, this is actually a one that I picked out of Wrath of the Lich King, mainly because Wrath of the Lich King don't really have a lot of Mythic Plus dungeons, or really any. But this dungeon does remind me of a Dragonflight dungeon. Now, is it from Dragonflight? I don't remember. Well, it's from somewhere, but it's a straight shot dungeon, which basically means there's only one path through the entire way. There's no route you can actually pick from, but there are mobs you can skip. You see these proto-dregs over here. If they... I feel like they could actually be a pretty good mob type, breathe fire, add some mechanics. If you just bring this dungeon up to like a more modern standard, there's Vicro mages, Vicro warriors. These ghouls can probably do like a, in this hallway, maybe do like a necrotic swipe or something like that. Honestly, I think the layout is just what I like about this place. Like I said, it reminds me of Terrace and to a lesser extent, Halls of Infusion. I think the mob types are pretty much on point to where it fits a Mythic Plus kind of setting. You can pull like small, you can pull big, and in the stable area you can pull 1 or 2 proto drakes, and then maybe they can be like super enemies or something like that. Now, being a Wrath of the Lich King dungeon, the bosses don't do a lot, and I feel like if Blizzard can spice up some of the mechanics to a more modern standard, then obviously yes, this will be an amazing dungeon. Probably, possibly, potentially. And yeah, that's just why I figured this maybe should work. Alright, Magister's Terrace at number 4. This is a TBC dungeon that, honestly, I'm quite surprised has not made it to a Mythic Plus pool yet. This dungeon is pretty dangerous. Even back in the day, these mobs hurt. I remember when I did time walking at one point, I think this is the only dungeon I've ever wiped in a Mythic Plus, not Mythic Plus, in time walking, just because the tank face pulled and he kind of underestimated some of these mobs. These mobs in this area, especially the courtyard where it's so densely packed, oh, they're crazy, especially those succubus, the succubi, I think that's what it's called. They can charm you, CC you, and then of course the second boss, which is the 5 boss super council. Oh yeah, this could be really fun when if it actually makes it into the Mythic Plus pool whenever it gets the chance to. And of course, we have everybody's favorite Kaothos. Just you know, maybe remove the gravity RP aspect of it, or just the RP in general, and I can see this being pretty good. Alright, Shadow Hall. So we are sticking to TBC. TBC doesn't have a lot of mythic dungeons, or really any at all. Just FYI, I got this video off of YouTube. I couldn't find a mythic. I couldn't find a video for time walking, and plus time walking isn't up. So, and all my characters are max level. If I go in here, I'm just gonna watch out everything. So, yeah, it won't showcase anything. So credit to Lord Reagan for letting me use this video, or you know, showing the video in mine. Yeah, nothing really much to say about Shadow Halls except that it's one of my favorite dungeons from the TBC. Other one, of course, being Magister's Terrace and then Hellfire Ramparts. I feel like any of these can be good Mythic Plus potential dungeons. This whole hallway over here is basically a straight gauntlet. You get into combat and then they call reinforcements and you're constantly just in combat the entire time. The mobs are pretty dangerous, and then if you get to the slime area over here, as of this moment, the slimes don't do anything, but if it actually gets to if it gets revamped to like a mythic dungeon kind of scenario, maybe, you know, make it so it does a shield absorb on you, similar to how like workshop in those sewer areas, those, you know, those slimes also do the same thing, and you could probably apply it here, and that'd be pretty cool. Now the bosses in TBC don't really do much. Like for example, this guy, all he has is a fear that spheres somebody in your party for like what, 5 seconds, and back in TBC, those kind of things happen, and you know, they're just normal. And for this second boss over here, after you go past the sewers and all that stuff, I didn't even realize this was a boss to begin with when I played this in time walking. We just killed everything so fast that you didn't really know this. But yeah, the layout in this area is pretty cool. Like I said, similar to Utgarde Keep and all the other straight line dungeons, it's just one path. There's nothing to really skip. Well, you can skip the mobs, but there's no route that you gotta pick from. Those are the kind of dungeons that I like. I don't like to have to rely on like different routes every time I go into a dungeon. Who knows? Maybe a tank. I mean, we can't figure out which tank has a different route, you know, or the same route that anybody has. So you constantly have to follow the tank, and then there's no default one. And then of course you have Kargeth Bladefist as the final boss here, a major lore character from Warlords of Draenor, and of course just WoW in general. I feel like if Blizzard can implement some of the high maul of Bladefist raid boss into this guy, yeah, this dungeon would be pretty sick, honestly. Okay, number 2, Mogu'shan Palace. This is my favorite dungeon out of Mists of Pandaria from back in 2012, which is 13 years ago. I had to pull up footage of a challenge mode from Asmongold back in the day because I couldn't tackle this dungeon by myself. I'd one-shot everything. All my characters maxed, that's why. Technically, this has been a time dungeon, though it has never been a Mythic Plus dungeon, like how Temple of the Jade Serpent was. I don't know why Blizzard chose that dungeon over this, because I feel like this is a lot more interesting. Everything you do in Modern WoW in Mythic Dungeons apply here. Everything's here. The priority mobs, the Ironhides, the Hexers, even in the second boss over here. In the second boss, when they join the fight, you have to know what you're doing. You have to interrupt. You have to CC. You have to line of sight. All that stuff that you already do today is already in this dungeon from, you know, back in the day, and it's more prevalent in this dungeon because it forces you, it challenges you to actually do it more than Temple of the Jade Serpent does. And of course, the last boss is a complete clown show. Back in the day, you could cheese this boss by bringing it all the way back to the room, all the way back to the door, and you know, none of this stuff would affect you. Now, if Blizzard can take that out of the equation where it resets when you get to that point, and you're forced to fight in this room, boy, I would love to see organized groups, you know, MDI, just modern players tackle the kind of dungeon that we had back in the day like this. I think it'd be awesome. I think it'd be great.
This is a breath of fresh, difficult, and thoroughly evil air. I'm a big fan of it.
Alright, number 1 is Stonecore, and as Total Biscuit just said, yes, this is a very evil dungeon back when it was in beta, and I'm pretty sure if it does make it into a Mythic Plus dungeon, that Blizzard, hopefully, in my opinion, should up the difficulty to where it is, you know, in this video right here with that Total Biscuit's playing, similar to the beta format. Everything about this dungeon rocks, and I really like this place. for one, you can't skip the preliminary trash packs to the first boss. You have to trigger the RP by defeating these trash packs leading up to Grobulus. Is it Grobulus? Well, whatever, the worm boss. And the worm boss itself does... he hurts. He hurts quite a bit. Even in time walking, whenever this stuff shows up, he still hurts pretty bad. He digs on the ground. You can't get in his path. If you get in his path, you die. He spawns zats. Don't kill them, they explode, and then you also die. They chase you, they do melee damage, and then they eventually explode. And then when he digs up, repeats the same mechanics, you know. Pretty simple boss, and also he does that. And then the Crystal Spawn Giant, heading into Slab Hide, he has a mechanic back in the day called Quake. And if you don't jump at the same time you cast, it's a one-shot. I'm hoping this comes back in Mythic Plus. But Slab Hide, there's really not much to say. This is the third boss of the dungeon. I think it needs the most work if it ever does make it to a Mythic dungeon. Not very interesting. He should really just do more besides these line of sight pillars and the, you know, AoE, what is it, spikes? Yeah, I think Slab Hide should get more mechanics besides just sitting there. And then heading into Ozruk, this bouncing ogre thing. This area in particular is messy. It is very, very dangerous. I can see a lot of wipes coming in here. I can see a lot of CCs. I got a lot of skips in this area. Really, really fun area. And then, of course, there's this big guy that really needs no introduction.
Break yourselves upon my body. Feel the strength of the earth.
So yeah, that's kind of fun. And then the fourth boss is essentially a Sith Lord. Basically, puts a bunch of void zones around you and then summons a ton of ads. You got to kite them in these things to kill them, or you have to kill them yourself, and then they get smaller each time they touch it. And then on top of that, he goes immune, throws a bunch, those 3 boulders at you. You get in the path of those boulders, and they just one-shot you. I really want this dungeon to come back. I don't know about anybody else, but I really do. Alright guys, thank you for watching. That will be my top 5 favorite dungeons that I have that I would like to see in Mythic Plus. Let me know what you guys think of this video format. Probably just do more fun stuff like this in the future. Who knows? Let me know what your guys' dungeons are that you want to see added to Mythic Plus in the future. I just wanted to do something fun. I was kept out on everything for the week, so I had nothing better to do other than just fool around and, you know, this, I guess. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe to my videos. I will talk with you guys later, and peace.